to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun. She puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase that, wanna dance tonight. Pulls up the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never stop. And from the top, we're gonna be hearts running wild. Now the morning, the afternoon, lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light. Pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop. As we shout from the top, we're gonna be. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight's we waste the night, wanna dance time.
Maybe this is why. Was this better? It really shouldn't. It's weird. This does. Okay, I guess this is a solution. Okay, we're trying to go again. Good morning. Don't ask. I think it's because somehow my headset decides to do Bluetooth connection rather than the other connection it has. And apparently suddenly now I have two methods of choosing between it and my audio input. Yeah, technology. It's supposed to be yeah, I guess that's just how it is. That is my excuse. It's technology. I am doing great, thank you. And indeed, I hope everybody is doing as well as can be expected. Hello, hello, great to see you. And in this case, I would say hopefully she is doing well because she shouldn't have been knocked back from chemo treatment this week. It's literally the first week after ended treatment after all the side effects, hopefully. So hopefully the recovery will really start be more of a feelable thing. If you open up sounds and disconnect the second instance of your headset, that can help. Happens to me as well. Oh, that could be. That could be. I'm not really sure why it chooses to connect via Bluetooth when I option give it the provide option of a wireless connection actually. So I'm not really sure why it does that. Don't I just don't know. Um, it's autumn. This morning I was in a scarf. I was in an extra sweater on top of this one, which is just a regular long sleeve standard basic. Because it's gotten really chilly outside, genuinely. And it's not that bad actually, because I still think it's like 15, 16 degrees. And it's sunny and it doesn't look cold, but it feels cold. Like I feel it's autumn. And when I was in my team meeting earlier today with work, like she was also totally snugged up in extra sweaters and jumpers and socks, and I don't know what. I was like, okay, I'm not alone. It's cold in the Netherlands. uh, so yeah, that was basically yes, autumn has arrived. Even though it is sunny and one would say it's summer, except for knowing it's not, because it is 24th of September today, right? Hello and good morning, Susan. Great to see you. Reverend says we just pray with the tech priests and hope Messiah provides. That would be nice. At least we hope that all the guardian angels are with us now and that it goes the right way. Um, we are being provided with a lot of information these days because I'm not sure, Reverend, if you know this, but when this whole ordeal started, um, it started later than it should have. And at some stage, I believe at the end of February or maybe beginning of March, the doctors actually told my mom that she should make an official complaint, a case complaint, because they had on some X-rays and some CT scans had overseen this undefinable mass that wasn't supposed to be there. They never named it as a tumor, because probably it wasn't a tumor, but still, it's something that wasn't supposed to be there, and it was clearly visible on an X-ray. She had more than 8 to 9 months prior the whole cancer procedure started. So yeah, and nobody reacted or mentioned it, even though it was visible in the photos. And we're talking about 2 X-rays and a CT scan in the period of 3rd of July until and with, I think it was the 18th of September. Um, so the doctors at the hospital is actually supporting a claim of mistakes in this whole process. So maybe there should be some, what is it called? Yeah, you'll get some cash for claims and so on. So it really sucks. The guardian angels so far has been providing so much that what they also wasn't a lung cancer, but lymphoma. It doesn't matter. It still sucks, because it's the fact that we're talking about a whole period of a delayed treatment of maybe 9 months, right? She could have gone into treatment almost 9 months earlier, or at least 8 for sure, if they had just been responding and anything in time. So yeah, there is definitely some mistakes that's happened, and for me, I'm not mad at the doctors, but I'm hoping that they will learn to prevent similar mistakes in the future. And then, of course, I hope that I was like, nothing can financially ever replace my parents, um, but they did, you know, it has been a lot of driving back and forth. So, to cover some of those costs would be really nice, right? Anyhow, let's talk about much more fun things like crochet or knitting or whatnot. I'm not really sure what we are going to do today. Henceforth, as said, we have some WIPs we can look at. Actually, technically, I have 4 WIPs active ongoing for WIPs, but one we are not going to be working with. That is Fleur. It's just way too big to sit with here. I have been working on it this week, so there is progress on it, but I can't it's not very good project for live. It just takes up too much space. So we have options. We have the option that we can proceed with the Lapsang Tischel. I'm just gonna move it a little bit over here. Oops, we have this lovely cake and the beginning. I did a few more rows, and now I'm actually at a place where it's row wise and a couple of easy rows to work. So we can definitely do a few rows on this. As you can see, it started. It's not that big yet, but we have started it. So that is one thing we can do. Then I have the rip knit beanie that we are working on, which is this absolutely freaking gorgeous yarn, which so much matches the clothing I have on. At least the steel does. I don't have that far to go. I have a couple of inches to knit, and then we are done. Wouldn't that be awesome? And I do have a goal of finishing in this week, so so that is one thing. We are having about an inch and a half to go, which is not far. An inch and a half is definitely not far. So that is option 2. And then we have option 3, which is just next to me. Just a moment to get it up here. And that is the bucket hat we worked on last week, the Krøllebølle bucket hat, where I have these 3 colors that I'm carrying up in a flat, nice design on top, but it has this granny stitch on the side of the hat before we go into the brim, which again is a solid thing, and get some lines and stuff like that. Yeah, so I have some ends I need to weave in as well, but don't need to do that right now. So we have options. We have options. Feel free to come with your input if you have something you think I should work on. Then we can definitely work on that. So you can get to choose what we are at least going to start with, and then we'll see if I get the feeling of doing something else at some stage. The weather in New Jersey today is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 19 degrees Celsius. I think we are below 60 degrees here, Fahrenheit. It's cold front in the day of Texas, only going to be 80 degrees today. Jesus, that's like hot, right? In Vaco, currently the weather is 79 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about 26 degrees Celsius. I'll change you for that, for what I have. And yes, Susan, it will be great once Fleur is completed. And that is why I'm genuinely trying to put in some effort crocheting on it when I'm not live and not doing many other things. And it is temperature-wise starting to be a temperature where I can definitely sit and cozy up under the blankets. I did last night. I tell you, that was nice. Weather here in the region proximity of Nijmegen, which is about a couple of miles from where I live. We will see that in a few. It is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. I said it was just below 60. That equals 15 degrees Celsius. It's from a northeast wind is blowing at 29 kilometers an hour or 18 miles per hour, so it is a bit windy outside, which is true. I sometimes see the trees wind a bit, and the humidity is 50 degrees. Lovely sunny, by the way. It says mostly cloudy. I care to disagree. When I'm looking outside my window right now, I see one cloud and the rest is blue sky. Micro fringe is the hottest new design feature. Oh, okay. Susan says finish the hats, and Revenant says also vote for the hat, but do whatever the muse directs you to. Well, we could actually go and make a good push and probably finish this hat during this live. And then if we do the rip knit, that would be kind of nice. And then we will see. I don't think I can finish both because the brim on the bucket hat is a bunch of single crochets. That's just, I'm being realistic, not going to happen. But I think definitely that we can finish this one. I've realized that I do knit quicker than I thought I do. So that's positive. At least right now I do. But that's once I get going. Then you can also see me fiddle along with these double-pointed needles. Maybe you have some tips when we get there. So let's see. And there is something with a lot of noise coming by here. Just if you hear some background noise, I do apologize. It is a street cleaning wagon, so it's like a big wagon with some big brushes underneath, and they like clean up the street, and they make lots of noise because there's a big vacuum cleaner underneath the truck. Basically, it takes up sand, dirt, leaves, etc., to keep our street clean. Um, which is nice, of course. It just makes a lot of sound when it drives by because of this huge vacuum cleaner it contains. I don't know if there's anywhere else that they have those, but here they do. I thought let's just do a little bit of a multiple screen here. I don't think when I'm knitting that I need to put it down to see the table as much in the same way, because obviously I'll be knitting. I did end 2 stitches after the row. So what I need to do is, I said, I want it to be about 30 centimeters long, which is a little bit more than 11 inches. It gives nice double fold for the brim. Which is and right now it's like a little bit more than 9.5. So yeah, to get there, or to get to 30, we should say, we are a little bit more than 1.5 inches short. So the question is, how much is that? That is about a color change. So we need to do about so much more. It's not too bad. An hour or so. I don't know how quickly that will go. I do about a row in 5 minutes, maybe. I do have some regular lemonades, and I do have a cup of tea. The tea is warm, so that's why I'm doing the lemonade until the tea has cooled off. So also, if you haven't grabbed your drinks and refreshments yet, do so, because we all need to stay hydrated. The street cleaner here comes through every other week and sounds like a hurricane. Exactly, yeah. Susan asked how many stitches I cast on. There's 80 stitches around here. They are on 6mm needles. It is loosely inspired by Passionate Kelsey's bucket hats. Not bucket hat, sorry. Chunky rib knit beanie. So basically, I close off the same way I do rib knit, but the stitches is matched with the fact that I've gotten down in needle size. But the stitch repeat of the closing of the hat is a full match to getting the correct closure of it. Henceforth, 80 stitches fit absolutely perfect for 6mm needles and this yarn. So I'm pretty happy about that, to be honest. It's been working out great. You saw maybe the yarn talk video from last week, Friday. It had the same amount of cast on stitches, so 80 on 6mm needles, and that worked out great. So that's also what we're doing here, in short. Yes, please. As Revenant says, please remember to like this stream so we can get some more yarn buddies and have more people hang out, because this is indeed just like you going to a yarn cafe and we hang out together and we have fun and we help each other and whatnot. Most definitely. The only thing is, I do believe I purl slightly different than what Kelsey does. But the result is a purl stitch. That is the most important. And as I say, I knit how I've been taught to knit, which is by my mom. And it's probably a bit like a continental style knit from what I know. But I'm not 100% sure, because obviously I'm not the greatest knitter. And yes, I have to agree, this yarn is so gorgeous. And I had only 2 skeins. So there was no more than just max a hat or maybe a pair of gloves or whatever. from this. There wasn't enough skeins to make a sweater. That said, if today I had the opportunity to buy enough to make a sweater, actually I think I would, because I think the colorway is so nice. They really blend nicely together, but I don't even see it on their new winter collection. So it's just one of these yarns that's just like, you're lucky if there's enough skeins in the store, and once it's sold out, it's kind of like gone. Limited edition, which is sad because it is gorgeous, like genuinely. Susan say Kelsey knits non-traditionally. Yeah, this is probably, I don't know if this is traditional or whatever. It's not. It's how I've been taught by my mom. The end. It's a Danish way of knitting, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not named something else. And I imagine my mom has been taught by either my grandmom or maybe my granddad, because if I'm not wrong, he was knitting too. Not that I've seen him doing it often, but he was capable of knitting. I'm just gonna grab 2 stitches to keep track of my stitch marker for the row, and then we can go and have a look at the hats. Because Revenant said, speaking of hats, I just finished my hat scarf set I was working on last time we were live. So give me a moment. And now I hope I have the right section here. I hope you still have audio. Please tell me if you do not have audio. Hat and scarf set, yarn is big twist of value. And I think we saw the hat last time. We just didn't see the scarf yet. So here we go. We have the full set. Ta-ta. Love the colors. Nice, fresh. Nice and fresh colors. Is there any special like sports team or whatnot, or is it just the colors that you found nicely working together, or anything special there? Like, look good, definitely. Meanwhile, I'm just cranking along here. Because now we are heading into this sort of, what should I call it? Pinkish tone? We have probably like 8 to 10 rows to go is my estimate, and then it's time to start close off. And now my chat is frozen. Not cool. They are the favorite colors of the recipients, a white to break them up a bit. Also a good choice. Susan, one would think hats and scarves would be really warm in Texas, but I do believe that when it's like there are colder places, and especially like maybe evening time or up in the mountains. Don't know how many mountains they might have in Texas though. I don't think it's all desert. Good morning, Gwen. Wonderful to see you. Don't forget to grab something to drink and hit the like to help share this video or this live stream out in the community, because we all want to get some more Yanni friends. Meanwhile, we did choose for me to continue knitting on this hat, because with everything going right, we should finish it during this live, and that would be actually quite nice to have a project finished. And I was thinking of, I do have, like, I'll have about half a skein left, which is not enough to make a second hat from. But I also have half a skein left from the other hat I made in the exact same yarn, just different colors. And I did come to the conclusion that I think I'm gonna try to change color every row with those two yarns and then combine it with a solid white going through so I can upsize the needles, and then we will see how big of a hat we can probably make from it. That is my thoughts. Not sure if it will be with a folded brim or not, but there should be enough to at least squeeze a regular hat out of it, if that makes sense. We do get a bit of cold over winter, and they like to go out stargazing and camping, so they will get more use than most. That makes good sense. And yes, I can imagine stargazing can be quite chilly because it's dark, and if there's no skies on the clouds on the skies, it can get really cold in the evening. At least that is what I know from winter time here in Europe. Most of Texas is not desert. In fact, we live in a river wetland. Oh, I had the idea. It's because when I see photos from Texas, it's always like dry. Hello, Marilyn. Welcome to this live. I do believe you're a lovely new face to this group. If you have never been with us here before for the live, I can tell you that we love to hang out and crochet or knit. Um, it's just like a knitting cafe. Grab something to drink, ask questions, get help, whichever suits your needs. I am in Europe, but most of the viewers, I believe, are actually in the US. It is obviously morning in the US. Here in Europe, where I am, it is 2:25 p.m. Central European Time. I am in the Netherlands. So I have thickness-wise a yarn quite similar to this in solid white, and it is in my scrap pile of yarns, and it's definitely long enough. So that is probably what I'm gonna try to do, because then I will also completely use up the skeins. It feels such a shame to have this gorgeous yarn not being able to use the last half, which is like, I don't know, 40 meters, maybe a bit less. So that is why I want to double strand it up and see how that's gonna end up. More like as a bonus project. Then said I will definitely need to up the needle sizes and use fewer stitches. So that is also one of the reasons for stranding them up or doubling them up, right? Do, do, do. Oh, both my yarn spindles are currently in use because the wound up cake for the fleur is on one of the spindles, and the cake I'm using for the lapsang t-shawl is on my other yarn spindle. So I am forced to manually pull a bit of yarn, and these donuts they just don't work with the center pull either. Generally, I'm not really, depending on the project, I am not a big center pull puller. That sounded funny. But then I'm generally tending to work more from outside of a skein. Don't ask me why. I guess it's because if I don't use up the full skein, it's easier to prevent yarn bath. Maybe. At least that seems to be the idea I have. Reverend says he likes to cake up his yarn. I like to cake up yarns in general as well, except for, well, it wasn't a lot of yarn, so I didn't cake them up. But like the yarns I'm using for Fleur is the Stylecraft Special DK. They come in 3.5 ounce skeins, so 100 gram skeins for those talking metrics, to 295 meters, so about 320 yards. So it's a DK weight. I cake up those. It is much easier to work with them caked up. I did the first one without caking it up, and trust me, ever since I realized it was easy to cake them up, I caked them up. The yarns for this is the Vibra Lena. Just a moment. I have the label here. For those being curious, just need to keep a little bit track of what I'm doing here. I think this is, oh, it is a bit bright. It does show here the color transitioning. Vibra is like a local value store here. So a bit like I wouldn't call it a Dollar Tree, but maybe a bit like a Dollar Tree. They are going a little bit from being a value store to being a little bit more quality value store. And they have like a nice section of yarns. I do believe I got this yarn back in April, and I actually have a video of going to the store. I could post that video as a link, so you can watch that one later. You have an idea of the type of store it is. And it is a 50 gram skein, so 1.75 ounce skein to 80 meters or about 87-ish yards. It's 70% acrylic and it's 30% wool, and it is roving style. And give me a moment and I will share you guys a link to the video, I believe, that where I went to the store and actually got this yarn. That was back in the spring. Yeah, that shopping, exactly. But I'll share it for those that's not knowing of it. I just need to find it. Takes a few. It is some really nice yarn, and I'm so sad that I don't have, like, let's say 14 skeins and could knit myself a sweater or get somebody to knit myself a sweater. Somebody knit a sweater. That would be my mom. She has knitted me quite a few sweaters, and I want to learn, definitely, to knit my own sweater. Could it be this one? I don't know. Or this one. There's always options. I think it was this one. So, link to share. So I shared it in chat for those being curious. I would say you can watch it later if you feel like it. But yeah, it is super gorgeous yarn. The yarn is made in Turkey. But it is one of those yarns where I would say it's a bit of a novelty yarn in the sense of, or it's a limited edition yarn, because I've been looking at their store and I haven't seen it since. And it was a really good price as well. It was like not even $3 per skein, like maybe $3 per skein with the current exchange rate. So I think that was, and that was including sales tax and everything, right? So I think that was a good price for the yarn as well. You've gotten some interesting European yarns in the past, Merrimax and mystery bags. Yeah. Sometimes they have some really nice yarns. And that is kind of why I'm still visiting there from time to time. Right now they have a really nice acrylic yarn, and I'm so tempted to go grab some skeins, but I'm a good girl and I'm not doing that, mainly because I have a yarn haul on Monday to show you guys. And then for the rest of the year, I am pretty obliged to shop my stash, with the only exception is if they do renew my contract from my employer, like if I keep my job, let's put it like this. It sounds really odd, but I will explain you a little bit about how contracts and jobs works here in the Netherlands. But if I do keep that, then I might splurge myself on some Black Friday yarns or Friday sales. But next to that, the concept is 100% to shop my stash because I know and I need to do that. So in the Netherlands, if you are getting a job, a lot or quite often companies here will provide you with a temporary contract. It's basically saying that you, the employee, will start working in their service, and the contract is for duration of it's like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 7 months, anything within 1 month in the year is a temporary contract. And when the contract comes to an end, the company is no longer obliged to pay you salary, nor are you obliged to keep working from them. If the company would like to keep you, so this is also a way for the companies to kind of get a feeling for you as an employee. Do they want to keep you, or does it match their workload, or what not? So it is a sort of a protection for the company. At the same time, you can also consider it a bit of a protection for the employer or employee, because if you really don't like working with a company, you know it's coming to an end. It's just temporary. You don't even need to worry about um, saying, "Hey, I want to go. I wanna quit." You just work the contract to its end, and hallelujah, you don't need to extend. If the employer offers you to extend, you're free to say no. Then 1 month, minimum 30 days before the contract comes to an end, unless anything else is mentioned in the contract, the employer must either inform you that your contract will not be extended. In other words, you have a 30-day notice of your job coming to an end, or they must offer you a new contract of extension. You can choose to sign that, or you can choose to say, no, thank you, or you can even negotiate for whatever terms you may want if you want changes into terms. Not all companies are open to negotiations, but theoretically, you could negotiate, let's say, an extra holiday or better pay or whatever not. Yeah. And then when the second contract comes to an end, usually the contract is no longer than 1 year. Often it is a shorter period. This contract I got was from April 14th until November 30th. So almost eight some odd months. Which means that no later than October 31st, they need to inform me if they want to extend my contract or if my contract will just expire when it expires on the 30th of November. I do have some vacation I need to hold before then. Trust me, I'll do that all the way in the end of November if they don't want to extend it, because then I'm just going to be, I don't care. But if they do want to extend it, then we'll be fine. And I need some vacation in December. But after the second contract will expire, then the company has two options. They will either have to let you go, or they will have to offer you an infinite contract, which basically means a permanent contract without an ending date. Then you're hired. The only way they can get rid of you is either you don't do your job, basically, you either refuse doing your job, or you do something that's harming the company, or along those lines, right? Like you do something that is completely, well, a valid reason to get fired. Or the company goes bankrupt. That's another option. Or your function moves. Like with my last job I had an infinite contract, but they moved my whole job function to another country, and I did not want to move to another country, so they had to let me go. But the benefit of having to be let go by the company without it being a reasoning of your own doing, in this case, it wasn't my fault they had to let me go, then you are obviously obligated to get all sorts of nice stuff, such as extra paycheck for, what is it called? The English word was so nicely on my tongue yesterday. Severance pay, etc. So that's kind of how it works here in the Netherlands. I like it from the company side that they have the opportunity to look at their employees and see, oh, is the workload actually fitting what we need or whatnot? But as well as the employees are able to have a get a bit of look on the job. But yeah, so I know that when I got hired, we are currently 2 employees handling the job I do. And my colleague has just returned from her maternity leave. That was not per se the reason I got hired, but it was definitely a part of the reason that I got hired. She's back, and the tasks we do does not warrant to have 2 employees doing it. One is enough. Um, so she's on her second temporary contract, and that one expires in January, I believe. So now the real question is, which of the 2 of us will they keep? And they will need to make a decision on that no later than October, because obviously they need to inform me by the end of October at the latest if I get offered a new contract or not. And I can tell you so much that I genuinely hope that they will offer me a new contract, because it's reasonably stress-free job. It's a reasonably good pay for what I'm doing, considering Dutch terms of pay and all that stuff. And I feel comfortable doing it. And in hindsight, I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't start doing it on my own and being self-employed, but that's another case. I do have an non-compete contract, so if I do end, I'm not allowed to work with this sort of stuff for a year if I want to go solo afterwards. But that's a tiny detail of it. But yeah, genuinely, I'd rather just be employed, because there's payments to pension schemes, and there is a certainty that you get X amount of cash paid to your account every month. It was payday today. But that certainty I really enjoy. And if I would work on my own, I've been freelancing before, but you have less certainty. So there's that. So that's in short how the Danish, or not Danish, Dutch companies work with contracts and so on. Has benefits and disadvantages. But Ronan says, hope you hear good news. Well, I hope so too. And Susan says, best wishes for job continuation. Thank you, Susan. It would be really nice for sure. And it is great and easy to combine with streaming with you guys. Obviously, I'll definitely continue to stream if I get unemployed. I have probably more time to stream until I figure out what's next. But so far, here we are. And it would just be nice if I can keep staying there. That would be perfect. I like the amount of hours I'm working. I like what I'm doing in general. It has some boring moments as well, but yeah, we all do. Nothing is perfect in life. Susan says if I've had any actions on my web store. Unfortunately, not yet. Part of it could maybe be to do. Some of you guys are in the US, and obviously I can't ship to the US, at least not yet. I blame Trump. But I have had visits, so that is positive. I will keep having that ongoing. I'm not going to close that down anytime soon. What I'm probably gonna do, so it's paid for until like June or so next year. I'm definitely gonna see how it's progressing and if it will be improving. And I might give it a year or two and see how that goes. What I've also very much considered is I need to really spend some time starting, because I do have designs in my head. And I'm gonna make you guys being surprised now. I actually both have knitting and crochet designs in my head. And I may have to start actually just writing pattern, because they are digital and you're not dependent on shipping there. There is some practical things on the back end I would need to sort for tax purposes if I go that alley. But you know, it's a much better, because you do need to put in a lot of work when you make it, but it's more passive once you're done. So that is probably the route I want to go, and that would still make a great purpose for the site. I did make a video, sort of introduction, intro, outro video actually, which I am also more likely to start stuff into other videos that I make and put on YouTube. For those curious, I don't know if I can maybe even make a temp one. Let me see if I can do that for a minute. Give me a moment to see if this will work. Media source. Oh. Okay, probably that's why. Now I need to find it. Sorry, this is work I didn't consider doing before. I should have done that, but we can all be clever in hindsight, can't we? No. That should be it. I think. Whole thing. So that wasn't the right one. That wasn't the right one. And I feel it had no audio either. Do I have it here? Let's try this. Why is that the case? Maybe this one then. Do you guys have audio? I don't know why I don't get it. Unexplainable. I'm sorry, but yeah. Susan says, I did look at your store and it looks good. Thank you so much. I hope indeed it looks good. I do have a bunch of things still to add and get added and so on. So that's also a thing we have to get on there. Hello, Amanda. Great to see you. I am doing great. We are knitting, actually, because we concluded that I was pretty close on finishing this one, and I genuinely like this one finished this week. That would be awesome. So we decided on knitting. So here we are, knitting. Pretty bird logo. Thank you. I really enjoyed and liked it as well. That's definitely why. Oh, okay. Remnant says we have very much sound when you change to that scene. It's a bit loud, actually. Okay, I am very sorry for that. Um, unsure why. But the thing is, I don't see it plays audio and I don't hear the audio. So I'm not really sure why that is. Um, well, that is going to be for me to figure out later. I'm not going to waste your ears with it. If you have your headset on 2 channels, one will suppress the other. Valid. Maybe this is the thing? That would be speakers. Do you still have audio after I've done this change? Because that's a computer change and not a stream change. I hope you still have audio. But that means me probably having more audio on the other one, and I will need to figure out how to decrease audio. Which probably has to do with this. Spade, repeat, no repeat needed. Color, blah, blah, blah. Standard settings. No. There should be some sort of, because I know I changed some audio on the others when I do the memberships, but I don't remember how I did it. Oh well. Because according to this, that's not an issue. But it's not the right screen. I don't want to pop it over because you guys will get blown away. I'm not. The audio is fine. Great. Glad to hear it. It's this eternally test of trying to make things better. At least it's an attempt. So now I can get on and get a bunch of these shawls blocked and I can get them listed because I just can't use them all, right? So that is one thing that also needs to happen. Anyhow, we are about halfway through from where we started to where I estimate the finish will be. That is a good question. Ronan says, what is everybody working on? If that is crafting while they're hanging out here. I can tell you that I am knitting, which is pretty obviously, it's a rib knit beanie. The concept of the pattern, at least for the close-off bit of the beanie, is inspired by Passionate Kelsey's chunky rib knit beanie. I have smaller needles and just one strand. Henceforth, I have fewer stitches. Not fewer stitches. I have increased the amount of stitches needed to ensure the size. But bottom line, it's pretty much the same way of doing it. And I need about one more full color change, and then we are going to measure to see how far we are along. Amanda says entertaining mini-me and a trio blanket. Is that the trio blanket where you have the 3 full muffin cakes on? And Susan saying, I'm finishing up a corner to corner must stitch blanket. It's 42 by 16 inches for a veteran's home donation. That is nice. There was actually a recording the other day of a veteran from this past weekend, Sunday probably, who went to place a heath of flowers at the memorial grounds, and he's the only one that made it this year. Obviously, it is many years ago, and this veteran he was 100 years old. I have mad respect for people still traveling this distance. I'm not sure if whether he was Canadian or American or if he was English, but it was in connection with all the celebrations we've had the past couple of weeks for the airborne. The airborne is a bunch of parachuters that were here in the year of 1944 to help fight against Germany, and they were trying to secure the rivers. And last weekend was the memory of Operation Market Garden, was what it was called back then. And unfortunately, the whole operation did fail because the reinforcements did never arrive in time, and thus a lot of people got killed. But the whole world of history and how the Second World War ended would probably have looked different if Operation Market Garden had been a success, because maybe then the D-Day invasion in France had not happened. So that was a bit of history for those interested in history lessons. Yeah. The muffins, yep. Rowan says, I've been working on a crochet kit from Hirschner's The Holly Jolly Granny Afghan. It has a bit odd, interesting construction. Starts as a mitred granny and then changes to a traditional. It goes around 3/4 to an extended into a rectangle. Currently doing full rounds. Okay. I feel that I am getting a bit cold on the shoulders. So I am probably inclined to, at the end of this row, just place down my knitting and grab my sweater, because cold means that I start to tensen up, and the last thing I can have is too much tension, and I do not want to get a cold. For various reasons, obviously. None of us likes to be sick. So I'm just gonna be really kind to myself. We can do a measurement before continuing as well. I'm actually also just gonna grab my scarf, I think, to go along with it, because as I said, I feel really chilly on my top shoulders, and my sweater or vest. Whew. That was, and you see already here, I'm in a blanket as well, and I'm having it a chilly time. Crazy. Oh, That was nice. It already feels better. Okay, let's measure. Let's measure. We are at 28 centimeters, which is a little bit less than 11 inches. So we definitely need to complete this color change. I probably need to go through some of the next. I'd rather have it tiny bit longer than a tiny bit too short. And I should probably finish up my lemonade so I can start on my tea. Tea. That has a great temperature now. Awesome. But yeah, it would be extremely nice to finish up this project. And I'm looking at the time, and I can say that we will certainly do that today, within the next hour. I am not the quickest knitter, definitely not for closing off. I also find with this rowing type style of yarn, and it's not like densely spun either, it's a bit loosely, that I need to be extra careful with the closing off bit. But, generally it's working nice. And I'm still totally in love with that sweater I want to knit, so I need to probably start looking into knitting something other than just a hat at some stage, just to try, I guess. This time of the year here in the Northeast US, my heating cooling system changes automatically based on water to keep constant indoor temperature. One morning may be heat and cooling by afternoon. Okay, that sounds really fancy though. I don't think we turned on the heat yet. In a few weeks, I definitely think we need to. And you can really feel the evenings has gotten colder. So, oh, didn't catch the stitch there. And then we'll see how cold it's gonna be this winter, I guess. Hope it's gonna be kinder to me than. And I can feel that as I've gotten older, my body is less willing to accept the change of the seasons. It likes summer and it hates winter and anything that's cold. I'd rather be too warm than I'd be too cold. And obviously, heating costs a fortune because here in the Netherlands, this is crazy in my world, but they use gas to heat the houses, and gas prices are skyrocketed. One of the reasons is Putin and Russia with this stupid war he's running with Ukraine, right? That is one of the reasons that the gas prices has rocketed. But also, like ideally, we should probably look into something better to heat up this house with. But right now the heat runs on gas. So the house temperature is probably a degree less than what I would prefer it to be. But that said, I'd rather than have an extra sweater on if that makes us save a little bit of money. That's not an issue. I'm fine with that. As long as I know it. so I'm not thinking that I'm going crazy. But every year when it starts getting colder, before we like kind of get there to turn on the heating again, I'm always being prosy stick, nice sickle. Rhoda says I'll probably put the heat on sometime in November, if that is a normal fall here. Yeah, well, there will be October here. A couple of years ago, we had an October where we already had freezing degrees in the beginning of October, and yeah, we'll definitely need heating by then. Amanda says, "Yay, my dad is back home. He had surgery on his shoulder this morning. That's great news. I hope the surgery went well as well." Um, I think surgeries is always a bit scary, because you kind of never know, right? But that's great news. Normally, I would be live also on a Wednesday in 2 weeks' time. I will not be live that Wednesday because I will be in Denmark. Actually, I will be on my way home. Um, Energy cost in the US has also risen. Yeah, I think it's a worldwide issue, to be honest. And it doesn't help with Israel knocking on the doors at other Middle Eastern countries that are actually sufficient in oil. Um, the fact that all the natural resources in Russia is not being bought, because obviously we all refuse that as long as Putin wars with Ukraine. The general slow depletion of natural resources doesn't help either. That also increases costs. It's just, there's all these factors that's no good, right? I may consider, because we do have a few weeks in the year where one could say it could be actually interesting to have some sort of air conditioning. And the air conditioning systems here um, run obviously on electricity. We have solar panels on the roof, so that helps. So that would also be better economical wise. And these systems often also can work as heating units. So it could actually be a good future investment to get 1 or 2 units here in the home. Um, so that is an investment that is worth considering. Um, but we haven't gotten there yet. But it's on the thinking board. Let's put it like this. Part of that being, it is quite an investment. It is not that cheap to get those units. He's back to his annoying girlfriend's all is good. Oh my goodness. Clearly you do not like the woman your dad is seeing. Many years ago, I actually had a partner or boyfriend, and I absolutely despised his mom. She was a real pain. Um, she was the true image of the nightmare mom-in-law you could imagine. Really. And luckily, I'm so lucky the one I have now, my mom-in-law I have now, she is a wonderful woman. Um, and yeah, I feel a bit like I'm the daughter she never had, if that makes sense. So we have a good relation. Um, so that's positive. He's been home for about an hour and she's already had enough. Well, she took the dog out for a walk and Dad just laughed at her. Okay. Ah. She'll need to figure out either to, well, it's on the other hand, it almost like my dad. I'm impressed with my mom sometimes. I love my dad, nothing said there, but he's the most impatient person you can ever imagine. And some really good examples is the fact that, when I travel back and forth, he drives early to the train station. One of the first times where he picked me up at the train station, at the very first beginning times when they didn't pick me up in the airport due to various reasons. Um, I think he left so early in advance when I started talking about I'm now gonna take the train from the airport and I need to change on the central station in Copenhagen before getting to the final destination where he'll pick me up, and that's like an hour and a half probably, or an hour and 15 if I'm quick, but let's say an hour and 20 minutes. So he left more or less when he had been told what train I was gonna take, which was maybe 10 minutes later, and he spent at least an hour waiting on me at the station, um, because he was impatient to go and pick me up. Where I was like trying to tell my mom, try to make him not leave before that timestamp, because I just know he's gonna like wait for ages and he's going insane because he's just not patient. He's really good if you know there's a specific time. Like if you know, okay, in 5 minutes we're done, or in 10 minutes we're done, he's fine. But if he doesn't know the end time, he goes all like cranky and impatient, and like you get stress. Literally, he stresses me out then. We have no contact with my mom-in-law. She is just a super negative, bigoted person that does nothing but bring my vibes mood down. Oh, that's sad. Holy smokes, that is sad. It makes me sad when I hear those stories. Um, that really makes me sad. I'm really happy with the one I have now. I wouldn't change her for a thing. Um, yeah, not a chance. I will change her. Dad's girlfriend has issues after hip replacement almost a year ago. She's in pain all the time, and doctor can't find out what's wrong, so she's always a bit grumpy. Well, I can't really blame her for being grumpy for pain, though. But that's really not good either. So I hope they find a solution for her so she gets less grumpy. That will be good for everyone. That went funky. We'll just try that one again. That was better. The yarn split. Getting old stiff. Yeah. That can also be a thing sometimes, right? When people get old. Dad loves to joke around and she has no sense of humor. Or she has no sense of humor left. Yeah. Can imagine it gets a bit more difficult. It's been really rough half a year with my mom, but she has lots of humor, and she also had lots of humor during the whole process. Um, she's been quite good at catching some humoristic things off it, such as at some stage. It's probably like half a year ago. At some stage at the hospital, she's like, she basically has gotten a wound from sitting because there is nothing left. She's so skinny, and she's like, yeah, I understand now why it hurts so much in my butt to sit, because there's nothing left of it, right? And comments like this really can make you laugh, and she has no issues laughing off it either. So that's been a really good thing, even though obviously it's been rough and hard. So when I'm at the end of this row, we are gonna measure to see if it's time for those double pointed needles. Mini-Me is wanting my attention now. No more crochet for a bit. Give her a hug from me. I was really good at managing myself, I guess. So I've grown up as an only child. My parents only have me together. My dad does have two other children, both older than me, from before he met my mom. But they never lived with us. So fundamentally, I've grown up as an only child, and I've learned to entertain myself. Let's put it like that. That would be the most correct. So, actually, I should have probably waited, but that means that I may end up doing one more row in the event where I'll knit back 2 stitches. It is gorgeous though. I really like the colors of this. Let's see. Did we hit 30 centimeters? Well, not if I look at the inches, because that's a lot of inches. I have the feeling it's getting shorter. That really shouldn't be the case. That looks better. Now we're definitely at 30. And it says 12. So that was just a tiny little stretch. I think we are definitely gonna knit back 2 stitches. And we are finding those double pointed ones. And then it's time to see if I'll succeed. That will be the first time live working on double pointed needles. So, and like the second time in my knitting career. So what we are gonna do is just gonna get them out. There was that, and then I need to grab my little kit bag here for my knitting needles, because I am gonna put a little end stopper on that, so I'm not suddenly losing all of the stitches all over the place, because that, my friends, that would be horrible. That would be me crying, because I'm not sure I'm advanced enough to fix that. Hello, Lisa. Good morning to you. We decided to knit on my beanie because it was actually pretty close to being finished. So we decided to crank up and finish up a WIP, which actually, in hindsight, I think is a great idea, because I did want to finish it this week. So had we not done it now, I'd probably done some tonight and finished it tonight. Let's see here. My shawl, I progressed a little bit, but not an awful lot. One of the reasons for this is I spent time on Fleur. It's getting the temperature now, and I really want to finish it soon. But I did add, I think, 2 or 3 more rows since. Let's see, what side is the front side? This is the front side. And now I'm at a stage in the shawl where it's pretty straightforward, if that makes sense. It's some really easy rows. So if we are going to progress on it today, it should be easy crocheting. But it's not gotten that far yet, and it will look so much nicer once it's blocked, that's for sure. So I have some bamboo double pointed needles here that we are gonna work on this project too. And how many stitches did I do last time? Because this is 80. So that's 20. And with decreases, every 4, 16 or so needs to go on. So we do a slip knit decrease. Woohoo! And then we do, let's see, a knit, and a pull. And now I just need to keep track of this end, which is bothering me, but that's only the first few. So that was one. Ta-ta! We have officially started. Holy smokes, you've been quick! Lisa managed to finish her dialing yesterday. Is it also already blocked, or is it on the blocking board? Because I know you were needing it this weekend. So that was 2. Or 8. So once I am done with this first, I need to have 15 stitches on, and now I have 9, so we have 2 more to go. And as I said, I really need to keep focus a bit too. I don't want to lose stitches. 12. Oh. Like that. Watch it, Stina. That should be 15 if I've done it correct. 2, 2, 3, yes, 15. Awesome. Time for the next. Time for the next. But first, we hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate. So now the only thing is, and I haven't really figured out yet how I easiest work with these needles. If I want them on top or below, but I think I want it below. But if you do have tips on that, I am keen to hear if you have anything that makes it easier to work with the double point ones. Because who knows, maybe you do actually have a great suggestions that I haven't considered or tried. But so far, these double-pointed bamboo needles, which definitely wasn't super expensive, has done me a good favor. I am a lot less frustrated as I used to be when I worked with just trying to do the magic loop and closing off and so on. It would look better if it was blocked, but it looks fine without blocking, so I'm not going to block it. My daughter is picking it up this afternoon. It's going to be the main prize in a raffle at a Renaissance fair. Ah, that's nice. And if it looks great without blocking, yeah, sometimes why bother? The current work in progress as it stands right now, so let's see. I should be able to share. Ta-ta! That feels so retro-alike when I'm looking at the colors. Holly Jolly Granny Afghans from Hirschnuss. I see your other blanket just behind. The one with the Halloween colors. Six. I have to say this time it seems to go easier. Decreasing. 2. One more. No. My chat is delayed. Why does that happen? Lisa loves it. I started a pair of knit socks for my son-in-law for Christmas. Knit socks. Yay! I love a good pair of knit socks. That is also something I probably should learn to do. This is why I already spoke with the guardian angels of my mom that she has to get through this, because there's so many things I haven't learned yet. 2, 3, 4, 5 decreases. Perfect. The benefit of the 80 stitches is that it fits with an exact 5 decreases as well based on this type. So I need to put that below. It's very retro. I'm digging it so far. My only issue is I'm used to not changing between granny clusters, but this is my first time following a kit, so I'm doing as instructed. Yep. I have to say, if we look at the bucket hat I was working on last week, it basically says to cut the yarn weave in the ends between every color change. And we ended up deciding together when I was doing those color changes that I would carry the yarn. And I am so happy that I'm not listening to the pattern and I'm just carrying the yarn, because the amount of ends I don't have to weave in. Yes, please. Don't like weaving in ends. So in this case, I think it was a very valid reasoning for, yeah, the choice done, so to say. And I don't grasp why the pattern designer didn't do it. But further than that, it's looking good. Also, I've changed the size compared to what I did last time. Crochet hook size, that is, for the granny bits of it. And I think it also has helped with the issue I had the last time. So, don't split on me. Thank you. And now we just need to check how many do we have here. 1, 2, 3. I need one more. I've been weaving in ends once or twice per section just so they do not get out of hand. Yeah, Need to weave in ends. I actually have an end in here I need to weave in as well, because there is 2 balls of yarn here. And as you can see, we're closing off now and I have this much left. So this much is going to combine with the other skein of the light blues, peaches, pinks. And I'm going to try to see if I can combine those 2 somehow into hats and double stranding those. But that is, I think, next week's project. I think. Lisa says don't normally chain between clusters. I don't. Well, it depends, I guess, on what the pattern says. What did I say? I needed 2 more, didn't I? 2, 4. Yeah, I need 2 more. I need to move them a bit and then catch those stitches. Come on. Yes, please. Ta-ta. Last one. At least for this row. Ta-ta. And this, my friends, is really keeping track. So I haven't really figured out where I'd like to have those pointy sticks yet, compared to the other pointy sticks. So if you have any recommendations on how to stick them best, feel free to provide. But further than that, I am digging the concept of these. I am gonna catch up and chat just after I decrease these last, like I have 8 stitches left, that's gonna turn into 6. Because then I'm done. And I can put these down. Then I will catch up and chat. Get here. Come here. Yay. Decrease. Oh, this looks like crazy. But I feel I'm fiddling. But we succeeded. Hallelujah. Look, the whole project onto double pointed needles. I'm a rock star. I feel like it, at least just shortly. It's very drapey despite using the recommended hook size. Okay. Yeah, but a drapey blanket is not necessarily a bad thing. It's all Hirschner's own brand. Their yarn, their worsted 8 series. It's nice and soft yarn for those in the States. I warmly recommend it. Not in the States, unfortunately. Well, given that a lot of yarn does come from Turkey, I guess it could be worse. But and I'm just gonna close down the rest of this knitting needle set because, as I said, if I am gonna do the next, I will be using likely my 8mm for that because I'll be double stranding. So they are different needles in any case. I will have to end. So that was this closed down. And the wire is off and I can close my little set down. Ta-ta! And we have the extra needle here for the rest of the decreases. And this is where I'm like, you know what I'm talking about? Like you see here, we have all these, they're sticking around. Do you prefer like working with them on top or below, or is there a tip here that I am not aware of yet? So far, I kind of prefer having them below. It seems easier to work with because having them above seems just to be in the way. But is there a way to kind of have them all the way around, which I am unaware of yet, that I just don't know, or somebody haven't told me? So what we're going to do is we're now going to decrease one. And we do that by a slip knit. Except for the slip knit, I don't slip them completely over. I just go in behind and I grab the yarn. I find that is quicker. and the end result is the same. And then I need to do a purl. And then I need to do a slip slip knit. And I need to do a purl. That is how we are progressing until the end here. But the challenge really with these needles, while they work nicely with the yarn, I also feel that the yarn slightly bit wants to split. And now that is in the way, so I'm gonna stuff that one below. And come here. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't split on me, yarn. So I have to say, really here with the closing off, this yarn really feels like it wants to split on me. And this is me and my fight with this rowing style yarn. But we got through it. We got through it. That was the first of 3, 4. I have the start of the needle behind the previous needle and the end in front of the next. But you do what works and it's comfortable for you. Let's see. I have the start of the needle behind the previous. So you would have it in here, like that. Not sure if I showed correctly. I feel that would be poked here. That's kind of why I keep it on the outside. I don't know. Maybe I need to study my mom doing knitting socks. So you generally have it in here. Ooh. No, that doesn't feel logic for me. I need to study people using double pointed needles. That is, that would be my next. But I probably just, will have to check my mom out when she's at some stage. If I see her doing it, see what she would do. So right now I just have it below. So it would point me if it would get too close, I guess, but I think my main fear with the double pointed needles would have been for the project to slide off at the other end. But I have to say that these knitting needles are, in that sense, not having any issues there at all whatsoever. I need to change that. So that is positive. But I did have the feeling it worked better with non-roving yarn. And then it's good, and I can remind myself this is just short piece because we are heading into, this is like what, the second, fuck. I dropped my stitch. And I sort of semi-saved it. Oh, that was a close one. Sorry for my words. I do apologize. That was not very friendly at all. Oh my goodness, it's still partially lost. What's going on here? We'll borrow a stitch like that. The fear almost coming true. This is not something I'm gonna knit backwards with. But I did save my stitch, but it almost got dropped. Whew. My mom says she has them opposite. Not sure if I understand opposite, but I'll figure it out. I haven't decided yet on the projects that I will be bringing with me to Denmark. But actually, ideally, I bring something easy. And why is that? Is that I am going to spend at least an hour and a half at a hospital somewhere waiting on the PET scan to commence. And I need something to work on. And I'm not really sure if a multiple knit beanie would be ideal to bring there. So I need to look into options as to what I could be bringing with me. I haven't decided yet. I have another week and a half to decide. Okay, we are halfway through this row, and then we have one row left. Woohoo. But yeah, as I said, I need to kill an hour and a half at least at the hospital, or I have to bring work with me and I'll work. That is an option. That is if I can find a place with a table where it's good to sit. And I don't know yet if that is something that I know for sure. So I'll probably both bring a small project to work on and on just my work laptop, because if I can work, it's obviously a time later where I need to not work. Oh, this yarn really does want to split. Which turns it a bit of a fiddly process. We are heading into the dark pinks, cerise colors. And I see the chat is busy, but I am so focused right now that I need to just let me finish this single needle. That would make me happy. And the idea of a finished project would make me even happier. Whew. Okay, so Helle explains the one you have the stitches on, I have on top and not below like you. And there are tables in the waiting room. Good to know. I might bring work. I'll have to think, because my next trip to Denmark is really a short, quick trip. So I'm not sure if it makes sense to bring a project if I just need to take a vacation from crafting. I'll be there for Sunday to Wednesday, so I'll leave Sunday morning and I'll go home Wednesday afternoon. So it's not like I have a lot of time there. You have it on top and not below. I think I just visually have to see it to try it myself. I think that is the end conclusion. The most surprised I am is the fact that these stitches aren't like sliding off my needles, and that everything is just enough and about and stuff like that. But I think I need to see it, I think. Oh, before I injure someone. You get below. I think a part of the reason for, I'm not sure if they are below, but it feels like they are on top of those on the side. But if I don't look at it like how I do now, I'm not really able to see what I'm doing, and it goes wrong. So this is a little bit, as I said, it's a bit fiddly. But I am, even though this is fiddly, I'm still less frustrated than I am with the magic loop attempting to decrease. But it would probably be even better if I just had some super short needles. Maybe, I don't know. Or if it's just a dream I have. An imagination. It's the same like having imaginations about how quick you do your makes when you plan them. My imagination always fails me because I believe I'm a lot faster than I am in reality. But guess what? We soon just have the last row to go, and then we will be done. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Ta-ta! Awesome. One down. Whew. One row to go. This row is easy because that is all just decrease. Slip, slip knits. For me, if I do the way you do, I get laddering between the needles. Maybe that is, I don't know, maybe that is what I'm sort of struggling with. I never really, nobody really told me how to hold these, right? And I didn't start watching or anything. I was just like, okay, I have to figure it out, and I just did it. And it works, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be improved. So we will be looking at that next time. But for now, we are gonna go on the route of decreasing. So we'll slip, slip, knit 2 stitches all the way around. Or knitting 2 together, so to say, but via the slip, slip, knit version. Or in this case, I'll insert my needle on the back side when I do the knitting to ensure that the desired stitch is in front, basically. And I think this type of yarn, as I said, I felt when I was doing it the very first time with these double pointed needles, and that was with the triple stranded project, that it worked a lot smoother. And my suspicion for this is simply the yarn, because having 3 strands to control on top of your 5 needles here sounds more difficult, right? And that is my conclusion. While the yarn is gorgeous and feels amazing, and it slides wonderful on circular needles, this is a bit of a fiddle work. Because when I'm doing this, it really looks at me like, wait a second, yes, I'll split. And I think it is the yarn, and not so much how I'm holding needles and whatnot. I just genuinely think it's the yarn. I did at some stage think I'll be finished with this before this live. That was my thought Monday, but that just didn't happen. I was fanatic Monday evening in the fitness, if that counts. The idea is to attempt being fanatic again tonight, unless anything else changes in plans. That has gone smoother than some of the other ones, and I was almost talking too early there, but this needle seemed a bit smoother, and I don't know if it was because, I don't know if my tension was maybe less tight. That could also be an option. Anyhow, the last needle, or the last cord of the row, and then it's time to find my darning needle to sew in these ends and cut off and stuff like that. So, da, da. That's fiddly. We'll redo that. That was better. But yeah, it's just a bit difficult to really get the stitches onto the needle. So I think it's a combination of tight tension and the type of yarn, because it kind of like flattens out. And when I try to get into it, it just splits on me instantly, which is a problem I just didn't really have for the just knitting around. And if that's due to, ta-ta, look, we are very much decreased. Awesome. Darning needle, where are you? You're here. The scissors, which I don't know. I'm using these squared Cupics needles, and I've kind of been enjoying those. So maybe that's the reasoning. Let's see. We have a bit of extra yarn for that. Ta-ta. Cut. This is the yarn we have left. It's about half a skein. And half a, so it's just 1/3 hat when you fold the brim. And I have 2 half skeins left, different colors. So that's why I kind of want to see if I can stripe them. Combined double threaded with just a standard plain white. Oh my goodness. I spit the, I pierced the, I'm piercing the hat right now. Let's see, it's coming from here. So we are gonna grab all those stitches. Actually, I could easily do that on the front side instead of doing what I'm doing now. But let's just get this, and then this, and then this. That just made it easier for myself. One out. Doo, 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 doo. Lisa says, I was thinking your tension looks very tight, but everybody knits crochets their own way. Well, I know I crochet tight, and I have a feeling that I also knit tight, especially when I'm decreasing somehow. Like, it feels very like tense, tight, and not intentionally. It just happens to be. Um, I definitely don't do it intentionally. One more down. But I know I crochet tight, so it is very likely that I'm also a bit of a tight knitter. That is definitely a possibility, I think. If it bothers you, try sizing up a needle size. Fun fact, this is 6.5 millimeters and the circular ones was 6 millimeters. So I did actually size up. Done. Pack away these needles now. But yeah, that's basically just like with the crocheting, right? For a lot of patterns, especially like beanies or something like that, which I've seen, I've had to size up crochet hook size because I am a tight crocheter. So now we're just gonna give it one more go around just to secure. And then we'll pull it tight and we'll weave in some ends. Almost. Like that. Choo, 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 choo. Ta-ta. Hopper keeps advertising to me, so I keep thinking I love your yarn more, but I live in autocracy and this cannot get any more. Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I'm happy to say that I can still get hobby yarns. And I haven't even checked their Black Friday yarns if they changed or got new ones, which is kind of not me. I normally would have checked long time ago. But I didn't. For whatever reason I do not know not. We could have a look at those once I'm done weaving in ends here though. Because this is just me ensuring that it won't untangle at any given time. And it probably won't, knowing me. Their candy cakes are only 6.5 US apparently. That has to be a deal for today or for the week. I am gonna look with you guys in a bit. I just need to. It wasn't finished yet. The yarn thought it was finished. Now I think I'm pretty finished. This, I doubt, will come undone. As I said, we still have some ends here we need to weave in and the end. Candy cakes. I need to look at the hobby sites. This hobby. Be jealous. I'm going to knit these socks and then I have my next shawl project planned. Okay, what shawl are you gonna make? Meanwhile, let's just be. Okay, 50% off Halloween yarn. Yay! But they should have the Black Friday yarns out. I feel like shopping yarn. I really shouldn't. That's usually what happens. I don't like all the new colors they did for the Dahlia, but I really like them. And I have still a few of them in my stash. Oh, it's sold out. Of the Freaky Nightmare, I have a few. So this is what's left. I also have some of this pumpkin spice pie. I don't think I have any of the rest. But yeah, not unlogical that they are getting to the sold out section. Halloween sock wool yarn. But I was actually going to go here and have a look for the Black Friday. They also have some Universe XL limited edition, also for Black Friday. But we want to look at their Halloween yarn because, or Black Friday yarn, because I'm curious. They should have them, right? Here, up there. Oh. Because I was told Monday that they were out. Lisa says I'm going to make the Lost Soul shawl with a Stanley Candy opal cake. I have a Lost Souls I want to make as well in some yarn, but I just haven't gotten around starting on it yet. I see them for $13 here, the Black Friday Candy Cake Soft XL. There's some few nice colors between. I like these. I want to get yarn. This is a nice color. I like this. Diluted ones. Flame Tears. Lavender Sky. Ocean Depth. And Apple Blossom. There's some nice colors. They are new, definitely. I like these. The candy were the Halloween ones. Okay. Yeah, they're not on sale, but I'm just checking what they have for the Black Friday because now I'm curious. Right, I have to. Because that's just how I am. I have the feeling they also got new colors here for the Sultan. This is actually just, even though they call them. No, they're discontinuing some of them. Like, oh no. But they got some. I have the idea I have this one in my stash. And this one seems new. I'm not sure if I like it though. I have the idea I have this one. I definitely have this one in my stash. That's okay. I may have this one. This is also pretty okay. But I actually, even though I don't think it's too bad, this one. And this one is nice. I like these color changes. I like red. Doesn't help either. Just getting the link from Permanent. Oh yeah, I've seen these too. I like the green one. Potion Master. Indeed, 6.5. But that's because they're 50% off for the next 5 days. But then you are needing to spend some cash for the shipping, huh? Black Friday yarns. We were looking. This looks very much. This is. I don't see. I have these yarns, just not from Hobby, and a lot cheaper. I tell you. You can get these from Ice Yarns and Papatia. These looks like those Rainbow Glow, Autumn Flame. I think, not this one, but yeah, I might have this one. This one I actually like. This is gorgeous. Deep Lagoon. I have this one in my stash, this color. And I also have this color in my stash. I do think I might have the Rose Dream. This blue one, I've made I made a comparison video for between Ice and Papatia. I'm going to find that video for you guys. I posted it, it's probably like 9 months ago. It's a short, quick video. But maybe you're lucky you could find somebody with Ice Yarns or Papatia in Papatia Ice Yarns Angora, I think it's called. Maybe you're lucky enough to find some dealer in the US if you're interested in that type, because it looks like it's pretty much close to being the same, because this wool cake is like 80% acrylic, 90% wool. It's 150 grams to 825 meters. It seems a bit shorter though. But when I look at the colors and how it fussy looks and so on, that really looks like the same. So give me a moment. I'm just gonna find the video and I'll throw that video in chat, and then you can save the video for later if you feel like watching it. Maybe it's not the same, but they really, really look similar. Let's put it like this. So I shared the video so you can have a look at it. It's the Ice Yarns Cakes Angora versus the Papatia Angora cake. Where I go through yarn specs and compare the cakes for those that's curious, and that really looks a lot like this. They look very similar. This is also new, and a lot of the colorways looks exactly like the Papatia Angora. I just think they're longer though than what they defined here as. But Black Friday candy cake. This also looks nice. Oh, there's more yarns. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna end up buy some yarn, I'm afraid. Not at these prices, but at some stage. I like this one. Apple pie. Tutti Frutti, chocolate fun, apple pie, blueberry cookie, candy floss, grew up dream, lemon curd, lollipop, Strawberry jam. And mint swirl. This is a gorgeous coloration. You said 103 speaks to you, but it's gone. Is that this one? Because here it all seems like they're here visible. Lisa says, that's my problem with hobby. I can get just as beautiful cakes for much cheaper at other places. Yeah, in this particular of the Friday Black Wool cake, I'm definitely not going to pay that price for them. Would I be willing to pay the price for them? Lower price? I might. But I think it's the same as the other ones, and then I'd probably just get that one instead. Yeah. Black Friday acrylic in various colors. That's on sale at the moment, by the way. That is these multiple packs. Get like 5 packs in a. And then they have assortment of different colors. It's just standard acrylic. I can get that cheaper here in the Netherlands. But this looks gorgeous. Black Friday Pastel Breeze. This looks gorgeous. It's like a blown yarn. See, 63% cotton, 37% acrylic. The sort of blown yarn. I see this being really summer friendly. 100 grams skein to 230 meters. It's classified as light. Recommended needles 4 millimeters. I think this is gorgeous. It's like crafting with clouds, a soft and airy limited edition yarn full of lightness and pastel energy. This yarn is made from blah, blah, blah. Discreet tube gives you an even light grip with a fine fluffy layer of around it adds extra softness. Very much feels like the yarn wraps your stitches around the layer down. Each skein of blah blah is blah blah. Yeah, no. Oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. And I'm not really a pink fan, but this, I really dig this. Whoa. Chasing Rainbows Peach Dream, if you're more into peach colors. Still gorgeous. Dusty Rose. Icy Rose. This is a blush, I think it was called. Yeah, blush. I think this is nice. And I'm not a pink person at all, but this I really like. Lilac Rose. This is gorgeous too. Wanna knit a sweater. Ocean Breeze. It's also gorgeous. I like these blues. Sky Whispers. Cute too. Minted Bliss. That's a grayish version. We have the Twilight Smoke. I dig this yarn. Just not for $9 a piece. But could I be tempted to get it when it's on sale? I probably could. Will I be allowed to buy this yarn if they extend my contract and I get it on sale? Yes, I will. The end. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to leave the Black Friday yarn because we weren't through with them all yet. I saw more stuff. The Dahlia Dark Witch. Yeah, okay. Halloween yarn. Dahlia. Yeah, it's sold out because you're getting closer to Halloween and people are selling out. Yep. I think I might actually have this one in my stash, but I'm not 100% sure. But I could possibly have it, yes. And I like it too. It's not bad. I do apologize slightly for yawning. Black Friday cotton prints. It's just classic cotton yarns. It seems like it is a multiple pack based on the price, I hope. 100 grams skein, 250 meters. No. It's not. It's like a it's like a 6/8 cotton-ish. Sheely. I don't want to pay that price for it for sure, but it looks good. I really like I dig this blue. I like the blue better. I'm also a fan of greens, but not this one. I still like this one better. It speaks more to me. We can also go all the rainbow style, but for this price, heck no. Black Friday sock wool prints. I was keen on this yarn last year, but I didn't get it. But if I were to get yarn for socks, I wanted to get this possibly because I like the colors. Like I like this sea greenish, and I also like this autumn color, but there isn't like one where they are combined, which is kind of sad. I'd love that one combined with the more green one. I have the idea this one is new because I didn't see that one last year. And here we also have mixed greens. Again, it's not a price I want to pay for sock yarn. I do believe they are 100 gram skeins, so it's 3.5 ounce skeins. So that's 7 ounces of yarn, but still $28 for 7 ounces of sock yarn is not the cheapest. Black Friday wool is similar to Hobby's Friends wool, I think. Black Friday chenille print. Let's just open it on the side. Black Friday chenille color. It's just a hot color plaques. And then we have the regular 8/8 or 8/4 cottons in packs, in big packs. They can be reasonably priced. They have some okay. It has an okay feel to it. But still, I'd like to get on sale. This is like they're like colorful of some sort of, but they're all like with a white background by the looks of it. Like, so they're not big, massively different, and I wouldn't want to pay 43 euros for 5 skeins. It is 100 gram skeins though, but still, sounds expensive. I have officially moved to the Netherlands. Like, my action or reaction on the prices sounds very Dutchy. For me to get Hobby to Canada, it costs almost double after shipping costs and import duty. Oh, dang. Rowan says, "Gonna be honest, even before the tariffs nonsense, Hobby's prices are just crazy high. Even at 50% off, it's usually on the high end of what I'm willing to pay." And here Lisa agrees. And yeah, I think we are somewhat more used to expensive prices in Europe for some aspects. Some things we do get crazily good deals on, but not everything. Um, and I think, let's see, now I need to think like this. Yeah. We are used to more higher prices in Europe. So fundamentally speaking, it's too thick to even thread. It's tangled in the end. But yeah, I agree. Hobby isn't cheap, and Hobby is actually running their business quite similar to many Dutch stores run their system. What do I mean by this? One may think. Let me see if I can explain. Because it's common that Dutch stores, so the normal price is the price on sale. And then they have the sales because it sounds so much better when you can make a sale and it's going to be like 1 + 1 free. But that is more like the normal price. how it's supposed to be. So, for example, if I'm buying shampoo, shampoo is very expensive in the Netherlands. And if I want to buy a bottle of shampoo, let's say it's costing standard price €5 for a bottle. And if I go to Germany, just across the border, it's no 20 minutes away, I can get the same bottle of shampoo for €3. In Germany, there are never a sale on shampoo, but in the Netherlands, quite often they do like buy two, get one free. Price pretty close to the same as in Germany. That's generally how the stores here work. It's fucked, I know, but it's reality. Yes, this is inside. Coolio. So there was a bit of a fun fact on store pricing here in the Netherlands, why you're like, ah. And I don't know if Hobby is running the same concept, because I suspect that even when those yarns are on sale, Hobby is still making money. Definitely Hobby is still making money. Like, that would be bad business if they didn't. And I just have one left to weave in. Holy smokes. And we have a finished hat. Then I can test it on. And I'm surprised how late it's gotten, but we also spent like, I don't know, 20 minutes looking at yarn, being like, yes, please. I dig this yarn. I need to see how I started this one. Probably like this. Then what I'm gonna do here is I am gonna work around it. Da, 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 da. So yeah, that's my best conclusion when it comes to the yarn prices in Europe, is that that's how they do it. That said, I do have some really great prices in our value stores if I just want acrylic. But again, there I can't get the same colorway. Maybe like I can get it now, but in half a year they might not have the colorway anymore, or in 3 months' time even. So yeah, sure, it might be cheaper, but what is my favorite yarn weight? It depends on the project. I actually do enjoy working with cake yarns, and my somewhere between my 3.5 and 4 millimeter hook. I can work with my 3.0 millimeter, but generally I prefer working with a little bit bigger hook than the 3, but I don't necessarily feel the need to work with a bigger hook. Look, my friends. So yeah, sport weight to DK weight is probably my fave. Isn't this gorgeous? What I should do actually is I should pop over here and pop over here and do like this and take off my headset and show you guys how it looks. Oopsie daisy. Because I actually just have a braid in my hair, so I can't do it. Ta-ta! It's a good fit. I can even pull it further down if I want. Like, I still have my ears covered, but that's not super. But it works. It's nice. It's a good fit. 80 stitches, 6 millimeter hook. Not hook, needles. decreasing just like Kelsey Knits decreases for her Rib Knit Chunky Beanie. So it's kind of inspired by the same, but it's just with the thinner yarn. That goes on 6mm hooks. But obviously I'm not going to sit with a beanie during the stream. That's not handy. But I'm pretty pleased. Okay, this one needs to go on the back side. I did not finish that well. Just going to grab it with a hook. There you go. That was better. The weaved end decided to peek out on the outside. That was not the intention. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased. As I said, I am gonna attempt probably seeing if I can work those two, but it's probably not gonna be a double-edged brim. But I like the idea of doing it. So that's probably what I'll be doing. I'm just gonna put away my ends scraps and my pile of, I have this bag where I collect scraps in, because I can always use it for filling if I decide to make one of my very random, not so often amigurumis. Last time I used yarn filling was when I made the chicken that I made for my podiversary video. Lisa says, anything bigger than worsted hurts my hands. Revenant says, it's a cool hat. And so does Lisa. Thank you for your comments and compliments. Thank you. Revenant says, I cannot work with anything less than a DK. I tend to do worsted most of the time, but the bulk and even the super bulky are good. Yeah, I guess it's a matter of what you're used to. I don't mind working with thicker yarns either. It kind of depends on the projects. So I wouldn't say I directly per se have a fave. But I do like, I quite often enjoy making shawls, and therefore it often makes sense to use the thinner weight yarns. It takes a lot longer to work up though. Henceforth, I don't mind using thicker either. I had a period where I did some bags. I used 5mm for that. I also crocheted some hats. I think I did 6mm for those, maybe. So, you know, I don't find there's a yarn I gravitate more often to, but I do often make a shawl. I have a shawl ongoing, and therefore I quite often work with my somewhere between 3.5 and 4mm hook is probably the hooks I use the most. Lisa says, isn't it great? There's so many different yarns, so we all can use what we like. That is great. Lisa says, I'm actually using sock yarn I also got from Little Knits. I also paid less than 10 per ball for this too. Love their sales. I think we all love yarn sales. So the real question is, am I going to grab the bucket hat I was working on? Might not be a bad idea, because we do want to finish that up next. And then leave my Lapsang t-shawl for another good time. I think that would make sense because we have like half an hour. So I could do a little on this, but on the other hand, I'm not sure if I'll finish it this week, because I do have things to do later today. Plus, I want to finish the current row I'm doing on Fleur. And in all secrecy, when I am able, I try to record my yarn talks a little bit in advance. So, because it also takes time to edit and a lot of other things. But yeah, so it could be that maybe, I don't know, shawl or bucket hat. Choices. I need to do a row of this in any case, so maybe this is more simple to do. I think. Oh, how did I do this? Just temp closed it for the fitting last time. It's been a week since we worked on this last time. Just saying. And now we need the cream white, which is called a latte colorwise. My goodness, this is so tangled. I need to keep track of my yarn ends here. What did I do? Let's just detangle for a minute. Now that was sort of better. Then this needs to get out of this. Ta-ta! Detangled. And of course you can't see anything because we are not back down. And it's a little bit light. So I'm just going to go lighter and go darker again so you can actually see what we're doing. Ta-ta! Lighting differences. Hello, Katerina. Welcome to this live. I do believe it's the first time we see one another. Absolutely wonderful to meet you. So you're very welcome. We are a little happy Yarny community. We tend to meet on Mondays and Wednesdays, every second Monday and every Wednesday, unless I am incapacitated in the sense of I am visiting my family or for whatever reason not home. But yeah, recently that's kind of been going on. I am in the Netherlands, but I am originally from Denmark. So I live in the Netherlands and my family is in Denmark, and I travel back and forth to say hello to my family. We got you through, and we need to stack these double crochets so we can carry the yarn. So that was the first one stacked. And this is where we get to the carrying part. And we yarn over again. And then we put that one behind. And now I just need to ta-ta, detangle. That is one stitch. Then what I then need to do is to insert stitch marker in what's supposed to be the top stitch. Ta-ta. Ron says, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you next week. I will definitely see you on Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, I should still be here. I may, though, next week, Wednesday, have had a long day. Oh, that's why I did funky. Oh, too late. Because on Tuesday next week, I will be, I'll be in Amsterdam for work. I'm going to Amsterdam for work. I'm inclined to actually do an extra because this looks so funky. What did I do here? I am going to redo this. Absolutely I am, because I don't know what this is. I'm not happy. Not a happy camper. That part I'm happy with. This part needs to go there, but I need to go under here to do it and give it a little bit of height like that. That was better. And then we'll bring the yarn over. Now that looks much better for a stitch. The other one was like super tight and not recognizable. Hello, Megan. Great to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. Or afternoon for that matter, but I do believe you're in the US, so let's fairly say morning. That was better. But yeah, so further than that, I'm doing good. For these stitches, we don't do chains between the granny clusters. And I am genuinely not sure how many rows we will reach to do. We'll probably need this row plus 2 more, something like that, before the brim, I think. That said, I'm not sure if I'll reach to crochet those rows because, as you know, we usually end the stream around 5 p.m. Central European time, so that would be 11 a.m. Eastern, for the purpose of me having to actually cook dinner. And today I need to peel potatoes and all that stuff as well. Because my partner very much appreciates me having made dinner for when he gets home from work, which I totally don't blame him. So yeah, we'll just crank along and see how far we get. Maybe I'll reach to get there, maybe not. But if we get so far around that it's just me needing to make the brim, that would be amazing. I'd be pretty happy with that. I was just double checking I was actually using the right hook. And what do I mean by that? Yeah, I'm using 2 hooks for this project. I'm using a bigger hook size for the single crochet stitches up there, and that is because if I don't, it gets extremely tight. Plus, then I definitely don't meet gauge gauge, because I am a tight crocheter. I do have a tight attention. Lisa says, every time we chat, you'll make me want to buy yarn, but I'm almost out of yarn storage space. I actually had a shelf fall off the wall. Oh my god. Yeah, every time I'm live, I want to buy yarn. And I'm trying my very best not to buy yarn. Reality is that, as I said, on Monday, you guys will be shown a yarn haul video because I did buy yarn. I was needing it for a few things, but yeah, that's just how it is. And that's kind of why it was okay. As I said, I may end up get some of the Hobby Black Friday yarns if, big if, I'm only allowed to buy yarn if my contract gets extended, and I need to keep it a bit limited. I am afraid that might decrease my stash project for 2025. Will it fail or will I succeed? difficult than what we measured on. I will have to revisit that at the end of the year, but we do that monthly. One thing that I can reveal is September is more like an increase of my stash than a decrease. And that is the sad reality of life. So preferably no more increases, we just a decrease from here on. Or I'll have to force myself to sell yarn. According to this, my stream crashed. I hope you guys are still with me. Oh, it looks like it. Okay, that's good. The shelf I had all my cake yarns on pulled out of the wall last week. I'm hoping I get my hubby to put it back up more securely tonight. Well, that sounds like a plan. At least more securely, right? Susan says, I see you. Thank you, Susan. Glad to hear it. I guess it's just another day for me and technology. This says, oh, good news. We picked up contracts for another 2 months of work, which is perfect. We will be racing to beat winter now. That's awesome. Great news. That's definitely good news. I'm not really sure what I'm racing for. But I definitely do have work to finish, and I'm not bored at work, so that's good, task and assignment wise. So once I'm done with these grannies, I will need to cut and weave in ends because the brim is gonna be like this very solid yellow, and I'm not gonna carry the yarn that far in single crochets. So that is definitely when I'm gonna cut the yarn. Right now, where I'm like leaving it and running it with, you can see it if you intentionally look for it, but it's like you need to look for it, if that makes sense. So that works. But after that, I'll cut it and do the rest. So that's still quite limited. And doing it like this definitely makes me dig this pattern more than, or want me to make it again if that's the case. Because after I made it the first time, I was like, it's actually quite tedious because every time you do a row, you cut the yarn, you weave in the ends, you do the next. This is so much nicer. So, ladies, I'm so happy that we decided for me to carry the yarn. I was doubting, but I'm actually quite happy that we ended up deciding for me to do it. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa says, if Platter overall has some good deal for Black Friday on some of the merino cakes, I will be getting some, but that's the only purchase I will foresee for myself. Yeah, This is why I'm like saying I'm trying genuinely not to buy yarns, and I've been really good at not generally doing it, with the exception for yarns needed for various reasons. But then I've needed the yarn to do a project, and then I do get extra yarn because I don't want to pay for shipping. And if I get, let's say, 10 skeins extra sometimes, I don't need to pay for shipping. And that's why I've made bigger yarn purchases than required. I just refuse to pay for shipping, if that makes sense. And looking at the amount of 8/8 cottons I slowly have over, we'll maybe be able to make a scrap basket or something like that at some stage, because that is increasing. Let's see. We are gonna head into yellow. And we do have time for that, because I'm just checking the clock. We do have time. So I'm gonna change and pick up yellow here. Go through, pull yarn, and then I am gonna look at one of the yarns I have here. I am gonna go under there, pull up a loop, prepare for the stacked single. And here, my friends, we need to take these two over for carrying. Yarn over, pull through, and then I need to insert a stitch marker to save my life later when we are coming to an end of the row. This goes to this, and those can go over there. We need to make another 2 double crochets. Ta-ta! Awesome. Then we'll finish this row, and then we'll make a quick fit. I do suspect I will probably need to do one more row of the Canario. So this is this light yellow, or the clear, more light yellow in between. I'm so sad this color doesn't really show great on the stream. They show much better in real life. But that is how it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll do this one all the way around, and then we'll kind of close it up. I'll put the stream back up for my head, and we'll test the fit to see if I need one more row before starting the brim, or if I need more than one row to start the brim. I could, I guess, theoretically start the brim here if I wanted to. That would be equal amount of each in the granny stitch, equal amount of rows. But honestly, what's more important is that it fits and that the brim slowly starts to come around the ears, right? I'm not really sure how many I did last time. I can go and find that one just to compare fit-wise if I want to do it differently. But I'm not sure if I do that comparison that will be today. Well, Rita has a sale on yarn art flowers right now. There's actually a German store that I buy from that's cheaper than Wilrita for the yarn art. But I have so many in my stash that I really don't need to add to them right now. So I am not I've been not been buying as much yarn as I could. I have been keen, but there's a difference between action and doing. There's it's definitely some consideration, because they also have some gorgeous yarns. And you can also get them. I don't know if Ulrich also sell their unicolors from the flowers unicolor, just to help you get solid colors of, like, say, black or whatever not. And that's pretty useful if you want to extend your projects, and you don't necessarily to break up a cake. At some stage, I really need to make the hat collector shawl. Start to cut up all the yarns I want to use for it, because that is gonna be one thing for sure. And when I get there, I think I will start with I'll start with the hobby twisters, because while I do have some platter cakes for it, that's much larger. So I just want to have an idea of how large will it turn out if I make the large one. And then I can decide how much I'll do with the other one when I get to making that one. That is going to be like an eternity project too. So I think Heart Collector Shawl is for when I'm done with Fleur. And Fleur is, I don't know, halfway done. I finished round 94 yesterday out of 129. There's like, I don't know how many stitches on the row. There's quite a few stitches in the round right now, because right now I'm doing like 68 some stitches, and there's a center and another 68 on the other side. So it's probably like 150 plus stitches in the round, in the side, multiplied by 4 sides, because it's a rectangle. It's progressing, not much, but I did a few rows, and now I just have the easy rows left. And the only reason we're not working on it is because we decided I should try to finish up these WIPs because they're closer to being finished. But I'm not sure if I'll finish this one up before the yarn talk, though. But then I have something to finish up next week. I've been spending quite some energy on Fleur. And I did go past the complicated rows, and it wasn't too bad when I was like just not sitting live, just having the peacefulness of crocheting on my own. I went past it, and it wasn't like a big issue. I can show you when I'm done with this row. I'll be happy to show you, because then we are also gonna give this one a quick fit and so on, so we can kind of wrap it up with that, because it's just right next to me. Da, 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 da. Because this one is also getting pretty close. I think we'll be fine by not closing it, because if I need to change yarn, I need to like frog it to close it, so to say. And if we don't need to change yarn, then I'll be working but on a different stitch. So it's easier just not to. So, gonna close down this because I don't need that anymore. And let's see where that's gonna be. So we are gonna pop this one up. Looks so dark though, doesn't it? So I could probably do like this and pop over on this. The resolution is slightly not as good, I think. We need to close down this and then lighten up the camera. If you give me a moment, we can go to default. Huh, that's better. That was a quick one. Ta-ta! That's slightly better resolution. So for the lapsang t-shirt, well, we could also just quickly do the fit of this one. So I'm just going to take off the headset, fit, and see and conclude how far we are. Still feel a bit like a Jew. A bit less than last time because it's gotten longer. But I would say we are pretty close to needing to start on the brim for the bucket hat. I think we are pretty close to that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually probably gonna check with the other one I made if I have one more row or not, and then see how the other one is fitting, just to compare, and then we'll figure it out from there. So that was that. I need this one for Fleur, so I can't put that too far away. Ta-ta! We have it here, Megan. Oh, watch my fingers. Doesn't get stuck in the yarn spindle. But we have it right here. It looks very, very glittery in this light. I have the feeling it's a lot less glittery though, but it's definitely glittery in this light, and it will be much better once stretched. I could try to do that actually. Let's see. No, it has to be turned opposite. I can try to pop my camera back down. Ta-ta! A little bit further. Just for you to get a little bit better view of the flat lay here. You can really see how this pattern starts to pop there. So the next couple of rows is quite simple. It's a bunch of double crochets basically, in various different stitches, and then there's gonna be some spaces and so on, and then the pattern will repeat, I believe. But I'm pleased with how it's progressing and how it's looking. I did intentionally stop at an easy point in the event that we did choose to work on this day. We didn't. We could, but there was so little time left that I didn't feel like it. Had I finished an hour earlier with the hat, would probably work on this one instead. For those curious of the color, it's this cerise darker purple, and it goes to a light purple, and then it's almost like a pink here in the center. I'm not sure if the light shows the true color, not completely. It's a little bit more clear in color than I feel it's on the screen right now. It's a bit warmer right now. It seems a bit cold. It's a little bit warmer in the color in reality. But yeah, as I said, I do want to finish up the row I'm currently doing on Fleur, and then I'm probably gonna work maybe on this project before recording my yarn talk video for Friday. And then we will see. Ta, 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 ta. So that's pretty much going to be that for today, because it is 1 minute to 5 p.m. Central European Time. We finished together this gorgeous fella, and it had a good fit. It's knitted on 6mm needles for those curious. Classic rib knit, rib knit, rib knit, or rib, so knit purl, knit purl, knit purl, but turns it into a rib knit beanie, ribbed beanie. It is double layered. Good length and size. That would be the hat close-up top, which I think looks good. Pretty pleased with the end result of this. I really like this yarn in the sense of how it turned out, and I'm happy we got something finished on this. I feel really productive today. So thank you for watching. Thank you if you're rewatching the stream and you've gotten all this way. Don't forget to hit the likes, share, and hypes and whatnot you can't do for us all to get more yarny friends. I had an absolutely wonderful time in you guys' company, and I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting. Until see you again, and I will be back on Friday with my yarn talk video. Bye. And now I'm realizing I'm not waving nicely to you, so actually I should pop up here just for you to get my lovely face. That would be nice at least, right? So we're gonna try again. Thank you for watching. Take care. Happy crafting. Love you all. And don't forget, on Monday I won't be live. I'll be here with a little yarn haul video, but I will be live next week, Wednesday, starting around 2 p.m. Central European Time. So that would be about 8 a.m. Eastern in the US. That's it. Love you all. Bye.